Hey guys, it's Gwynaire here from Defy Reality Entertainment, and I have a new microphone, so hopefully my voice sounds just a bit better than it was in my previous devlogs. Just getting the balance right and everything, so hopefully this works out really nicely. I've got a lot of things going on at the moment in Visionaire and Blender, mainly Visionaire, but I'm also sort of working in Blender, getting some animation stuff set up. And I'm also kind of revisiting an old area, an old friend of Neyyah. I did a playthrough, like a playtest, gameplay showcase in 2020 of this particular scene, and it's actually being integrated into the main build of the game now. And new renders are being done with the actual background, you know, how it actually looks within this environment for the final scene. So I think I might be cutting this kind of video into maybe two parts, or at least like continuing the journey here. I'll quickly play and show you guys what I've got in Visionaire so far, and this is basically like a fill-in scene of OpenGL images that represent the scene, the camera angles and everything. So yeah, you can see here I'm turning left and right. I can also zoom in on certain things as well. I think there might be something wrong with one of those nodes. That's cool. So I can look up, I can look down, turn left, turn right, I can move forward and turn around as well. And I think I can move forward here. Oh, okay, it's going to the wrong node at the moment. That's all good. So glitch. This scene has come a long way in terms of what's outside of this building that you're in. I'm actually going to show you a clip here. If I can find it. It's actually in the yeah, in this folder. This is the actual playtest. If it works, it might. I hope it doesn't start too much. I'm also rendering in the background at the moment. Here we go. So yeah, the Watchtower mini test build 2020. Hopefully you can hear me over the sound. I won't talk too much, just in case. But this was the old look of this particular environment back in 2020, and it's come a long way since then. I think I would like to go into more detail with this particular build as well on a later video, but for now I just want to quickly show you guys how this actually looks as a rendered environment. The inside hasn't really changed at all. So it's the actual outside that has altered a lot, and that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm actually bringing these new final renders into the game, but to speed things up, in terms of puzzle integration, I'm actually just using the OpenGLs at the moment, just to get the nodes in place, the positions, and all the hotspots and everything. So there I can just basically, like I do with animations, just replace the renders. I haven't really done this kind of thing for actual renders before, but it's just speeding up the process a lot, because these particular scenes are taking a fair amount of time to render, just because the amount of scenery that's in the background outside of the building. And it has to be captured because from the footage that I just showed you, you can actually sort of see through the grated metal kind of like mesh that goes around, and as well as the big open sort of window spaces as well, the gaps. So I'm actually going to show you, if I can find it, here are the actual kind of final renders, some of them ready to go. I brought them over to this computer. The rendering on this computer at the moment, over here, it does exist. I do have two computers, and yeah, these are the actual sort of final scenes. So I'll actually get like a nice This one here is like an outside view, one of the outside views here. It's actually kind of one of my sort of favourite looking scenes in Neyyah. It's a very sort of striking scene, and definitely reminds me of that 2020 period when I was developing this entire environment. But I'll actually just I'll open this one so you get an idea of what's going to be happening here. Don't want the video to be too long, but it's just an example of what I'm doing at the moment and showing you guys what I'm up to. So these images here, they'll be processed just like I'm about to show you through the Photoshop magic, the Neyyah, many Neyyah effects that I've got, exterior locations, interior locations, animations. I've got a whole list of different crop batch processing effects that need to go through animations so they crop within the game. Mainly for animations it's cropping, and then the interiors and exteriors have a bunch of various different effects, from gamma levels, noise reduction, all sorts of things happening for these raw renders that you see an example of here. This is what it actually looks like from Blender. And you know, at one point I think I was just using these raw renders and not really doing much with them. I think the Spore Docs test build, I'll kind of maybe spice a little bit of that into this video right now. That basically didn't have any post-production done to the renders at all, from what I remember. And that was 2019, and I was still living in Australia when I was developing that particular that sort of gameplay showcase test build. But then I got into GIMP, started using that a lot more, and then I think by the time I was creating this scene, I'd started getting into Photoshop. But even then, the effects have changed a lot, and you can actually see, well, I won't be able to show you too much of an example right now, but like I said, I'd love to continue this video and kind of do like a really cool comparison of playing that test build in 2020 and then playing it again as the current build. It might not have the sounds as I added in the 2020 build. That kind of thing is going to kind of have to be like re-implemented. It might even be sort of adjusted here and there. But it would be cool to kind of show you guys the differences between. So I'm just going to run through some effects here and bring this particular scene to life. Though it's, you know, looking really cool right now. You know, Photoshop really did spread the icing on the Neyyah cake, so to speak. Here we go. I think that's the right one. Hope it doesn't jam the computer up. I'm just rendering a lot of things in the background. So we'll see a transformation here from raw render to edited, or done as I like to call them. And there you go. So suddenly you have this whole burst of light that just brings the scene to life. And even though we're in an interior scene, you can actually see a bit more through the shadow now in the dark areas. And it's actually a really cool scene. It's I wouldn't say emotional, but it's just really wonderful coming back to this scene from 2020 and seeing, I don't know, the background coming to life more, the actual scene, the final set in the background through the mesh and through the little gaps in the windows, and just, you know, it's just a really beautiful scene too, the way it's shaded and the lights coming in certain areas and lighting certain parts up. And you can see the device over here is kind of just like dazzled within the sun dappled kind of effect there going on. And I'm really looking forward to actually bringing this to life now in the actual build, so it's a really cool area. So yeah, I'm doing that. And but for now, like I said, just adding the OpenGL images into the game here so that I can actually interact with things and start bringing animations in and puzzle elements as well. So I'll just add a couple more into the game. I just realised, making sure I know where I am. 3A, so okay. And you can see here, even if it's open with the OpenGL, not all the models are actually in the particular scene I was creating the OpenGL renders. Not all the models are actually in the scene, especially the background models. This is actually just the what I call the camera set. So I've pretty much added all those scenes into the build. I think one thing I have to do though is just alter a couple of the things. This does actually have a view outside as well, but the shape of the node box has to change, so I'll just change that quickly here. It's a very simple process really, adding these images in, because it's just a rinse and repeat. And because it's mostly A, B, C and D, once I've copied those in and then brought the new images in, they just link automatically. But then it's getting from, say, 3C over to the other side. I have to make sure that actually goes to the right image. So that's 4A. I believe I do have the 4A view outside. I'll just double check that. I think the 4A outside is actually a very plain view. Yeah, because it's going to look very different to this. Incredibly different. I actually can't wait to render that that particular scene. It's going to be a really cool view of that entire area. This is the 4C. No. Which one was this? This was the... Oh yeah, we don't need that one. Okay, and 4B. One thing I need to do as well in the 4A is just delete that box close up, because we won't be doing it in this one. And we've got some button press thing going on there too, so we can delete that one and that one. Okay, cool. That'll be fine for now. And then I'll go to the 4B and add the right image here. Doesn't really take too long, like I said, to get these images in. It's just making sure they do link up as best as they can. And when the renders are finished, the actual final renders, I can actually just replace all these images, and they're already set up. And I'm hoping by the end of the day I'll have this entire room organized in terms of actually being able to interact with the different devices and puzzle implementation as well. Although another part of the scene will have to be altered as well. And what I'm doing at the moment is focusing on the I'm just going to open the curtain actually. It's got a bit dark. I'm actually going to focus on the interiors at the moment for what's called the Harbour Zone. Just bringing those renders in, animations, journey modes, puzzle implementation, and then going back into the exterior locations of this particular zone, and then doing like the retouches, the animations that are going to be outside, certain states that change as well depending on what the player's doing. So that's kind of what I'm doing a lot. I've been doing for the last couple of months now for various locations. It's just basically focusing on getting those interiors in and really kind of doing a lot of the engine work and making everything basically come to life as a game, which is incredibly cool. It's really kind of seeing Neyyah come to life in a deeper way than just seeing the images and the artwork come to life in the world that you can explore. So I need to get my 4D. Where's my 4D? 4D. Here we go. And oh, just double check that. I believe that should be 4D. No. That's a 4C. 4C lookup. Okay, cool. Usually there isn't too much trouble with like, you know, getting images in terms of like accidentally sometimes maybe making a mistake, bringing in the wrong, like say 4C. I might accidentally bring in the 3C and put it on the 4C, but then when you're playing it you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't look right. But most of the time it's just, you know, it's just a case of really kind of focusing on what you're doing. And I don't usually talk like this while I'm doing this kind of work, so pardon me if I do make a couple of mistakes. I think that's why a live stream would be so distracting. If I was working and doing a live stream at the same time. As it is, I get way too easily distracted doing this. Okay, so that's the 4D. Then again, I have things playing off in the background. I'll have a gameplay of some sort, or an interview playing in the background when I'm working usually. So, I don't know. I'm a bit of a hypocrite, I suppose. 4D, 4C. Okay, I think that's linking up quite well. The view outside, that goes back on itself. So let's just test that node. that node tree. Turn right. Got some basic sounds there. To be honest, a lot of the nodes at the moment are set up with that ocean sound you can hear there. That's just a basic combination of various different ocean sounds. Shallow water, distant surf. Of course, it's great because I haven't really delved into it too much, especially with Devlogs, but Visionaire has a really cool sound system where you can layer various sounds. I've got the sound pockets here, so you've got various different sounds here that can include all sorts of sounds in one container. So for example, the Felicia Island Walkway top area test of like a top area of ocean sounds is actually a combination of various different sounds all playing together. So not only can I actually, you know, record that, mix it down as one actual audio file of mixed tracks that I've created in, say, Sonar Cakewalk, for example, but I can actually do that within Visionaire and set the volumes and do mixing within Visionaire, which is really cool and it's very fun. And I really can't wait to kind of delve into that a bit more for Neyyah. And I'll probably expect to maybe try getting into sound design definitely by the end of the year. I know that I really want to get back into modeling by December, but I really want to get into doing some really good sound work for all this work that I've been putting into the engine. So that's going to be really fun, and I can't wait to share that on Devlogs as well. So now we've added that, I'll just quickly show you guys like getting from one area to the next. I'll change this forward to, it will be the that will be the 1A, I believe. So it's kind of knowing in your head like whereabouts am I and what will the next step forward be in terms of the actual names that I've given the scenes in Visionaire. So I know that this is the 4 node, the 4th node of this area. Going forward will lead me to the first node, so that'll be 1A. And I remember 1A was facing the same way I'm facing right now, so I kind of knew exactly where I was going to be going there. It can be a bit complicated sometimes, but you know, luckily I have a very good sense of sort of spatial awareness, and also kind of knowing whereabouts I am in the game, because this world is absolutely massive, and it's so important to be really organized when you're creating such a vast real estate of locations. So now if I go forward, I should go to that one. Awesome stuff. And vice versa here, but I won't be going over there yet, so that's cool. Yeah, it's looking good, looking good. One thing I could do potentially with this particular scene, if it wants to work, sometimes with Blender in the background, it's like it says it's running, but it's actually not. When it's rendering something, it's just like really awkward. It tends to kind of like want to just like not make Visionaire work basically. This is another scene that I've rendered out as well. Again, this will be going through post-production. Actually, I'll show you that as well in a minute before I finish up this video. I'll show you what that looks like with some cool effects added. One thing I might do with this particular scene though is I might actually adjust the position of the camera just a bit. It feels to me that it's a bit too far over on the right side. Well, that's not too bad actually. And it's such a weird thing, like when you're creating composing a particular scene with the camera and making sure everything looks really nice. It's not only until you actually add it into the engine and find out what it looks like when it's actually moving forward, or particularly moving forward and that kind of thing. It's then you know that, oh, does that actually link up really well? Does it actually sync well? Does it actually feel like you're moving forward? So sometimes the OpenGL way of doing things is actually such a, particularly with animations anyway, that's how I've been doing things. It's such a useful way to see what's working and see how, with this particular point and click gameplay style, see how everything's flowing. And there've been definitely a few occurrences within developing Neyyah where I've had to take nodes out or re-render certain scenes because they just don't kind of flow very well, and that's part of what I do with the retouches for these exteriors that I'm doing in these particular locations as I go through them, is turning left and right, making sure that they actually kind of link really nicely together when they're sliding left and right because of the transitions. And as you can see here, I'll quickly play that again and also show an example if it wants to play. Yay! Show an example here of kind of like how it spins left or right as you're turning, so it gives a really nice sense of you're kind of moving through the environment. It feels like you're actually turning around. Of course, you know, when you've turned off the transitions, you know, you don't get that effect, and you don't have to worry so much about kind of what's on your left and right side of the screens. You can't really, you know, change things like here, for example, the camera's pulled back to such a point where, you know, you can sort of look down if you want, you can look up, and you'll have this device over here on this side, but then when you turn right you can actually see it in view, so you'll see it kind of twice in that sense. But it's also orientation, you know that it's over there, so when you turn right it's there in front of you as well. Riven did that really well of using certain kind of eye markers to mark the left and right of the screen so the player can see something, and when they see it, that might entice them to turn around and look at it. But it's also a weird kind of thing of making sure that the player doesn't get too disorientated as well. So it's kind of a really kind of cool challenge as well when you're implementing artwork like here in Neyyah. So yeah, that's coming along really well. I'll be finishing this hopefully by the end of the day. Also adding some states in, I'm doing some retouches in the scene here. There was some lighting issues that I wanted to sort out. I'm actually going to bring this in. I think I might have already brought it in. Or did I? Maybe I didn't. Okay, I was saying I did. That's the 4A. Oh wait, this is the 3A door open. So I'll just rename this one to best. And I'll bring that scene in. So here we have the a new render, and this one will have a slightly different run of effects because it's also an interior location, and I believe, yeah, I had a horrible time actually with these Photoshop effects back in, I think it was last year. I didn't actually save these action lists, and Photoshop crashed and I lost a lot of my effects, and it was horrible. Luckily I have screenshots in Picasa. I take a lot of sort of print screens as I'm doing these effects, and I managed to kind of refer back to those and kind of see what effects I was adding from, you know, the smallest thing of like for example, I might be able to just open one up here, the camera raw filter for this particular this is not the effect I'm going to be using, but it's just an example of how things look within Photoshop. So you can see here just the effects like exposure, contrast, highlights, you know, they're all set to various different settings. This particular effect here only has the curve set. But I screenshot these, you know, as I'm creating these kind of effects and seeing what works, I always screenshot them. So I managed to refer back to these, but you know, some of them I kind of did lose and I had to recreate. So now I basically save all these Photoshop action lists into a folder, and you know, I can actually get them back, and I just keep updating them as well. So a lot of them get, you know, new ones get added. I've got some new animation crops here. Whereabouts are they? Here we go. For like the harbour, gun tower, top right chair jammed, big lever, for example. So you know, all these different crops and stuff that have to go through the animation sequences. But for this one, this is a an interior, so I'll find this one. But some of them are just, you know, I kind of know that the screenshots are there, but it's been so long that finally, when I do finally get around to rendering these particular interiors and then bring them into Visionaire, I feel that I can just basically recreate the effects that I needed within Photoshop. I don't really need to refer back to those old screenshots, because I feel like I've got a much quicker eye and a much more sort of stronger eye for these particular effects that I needed for certain locations to really bring them to life. Because of this experience and doing it again and again, it's insane actually the amount of skills that I've picked up since doing Neyyah. It's incredible. So I'll just bring that in. This is the right one, I believe. Yeah, okay. So you should see this scene pop to life. There you go. So already there you've got, yeah, a much nicer scene. Got the nice little lantern in the corner there, and it's a very cool scene actually. I really like this area. It's I remember when I was modeling it, I was like, wow, you know, this is looking so real and so nice. The actual location currently within the game looks like this. I'll show you guys if it wants to work. No, it does not want to work. I'll quickly find it. I'll be able to scroll up anyway. Bottom section. Here we go. Yeah, kind of. This is the door not completely open, so that scene I've got here is the door completely open. And that's the scene I'll be bringing to the engine. But you can see here, even like looking in this scene, it's a lot darker, and I thought that was really cool, kind of creepy. But I wanted it to be a lot more, just a bit brighter, and so that's why I brought in some extra lighting, just to kind of give it a bit more of a really cool effect inside as well. And you've got like daylight coming through technically as well, so it works well. It came out quite nicely, this scene. And yeah, so before I finish up the video, I want to show you this as well. This is a particular area of the game that I'm using for, it's for a plaque, and I had a very old kind of like design. I think it's actually, I can show it to you on here. I can actually show you the old design. Can't skip that animation. That's actually when I put this together, this particular build, I was using a very sort of different set of techniques within Visionaire. So I'm looking forward to bringing this to life again in a much more simpler way. I think it's going to work a lot better. Oh, here we go. So yeah, this plaque here, you probably won't be able to hear me very well. This is very loud at the moment. I'm just going to turn that down. I don't know how loud it is on your end. But yeah, this plaque, I want to redo. I want to redo that plaque. And it came out like this, because this is what it represents. I want to use the actual scene, the actual area of the game that plaque represents. So I basically kind of did like a render of that particular scene and took out this, you know, just not with, you know, no sky, nothing like that added. Only a portion of it. I only needed a part of the scene. It looks very rough. I think the ground's gone as well, the sea, the ocean. But then came up with this, and this is kind of just the magic of Photoshop. Just basically incorporating it into the wood of this texture. Just very sort of like scarred, old, kind of almost like it's been painted on, or it used to be a nice photo, but it's just kind of like, you know, kind of worn away within the wood that's been printed on. And so yeah, that's actually being brought into these new scenes within Visionaire, within the actual. I can actually possibly, where is it, show you guys the, well, you won't be able to see it very well, but it's actually, it's there. I'll quickly show you with a bit of Photoshop added. You'll be able to see it slightly better, but yeah, yeah, maybe not. It's still quite dark. But this bit here, that's where the plaque is. and obviously you can zoom in on that as well and control things. So it just turned out a lot better, and it just felt like it was more part of the world by upgrading that. And it came out really nicely. It didn't actually take very long to do at all. Just a few different Photoshop effects, burning it in. You can still see the layers here that I've added, and just combining them together. And yeah, came out really well. You can also see where I've rubbed things out and kind of done things just to make it look really cool. So yeah, guys, that's what I'm up to at the moment in the world of Neyyah. It's come along really well, and like I said, I'd love to do another video just to catch up on what's happening with this scene here, having the final renders in, and you'll be able to see some developments most likely by next week in this particular scene. So that'll be really cool. So yeah, I'm going to finish off linking it all together and rendering out, and also other things that I've got going on in the background with other scenes of the game, particularly focusing on this location, the harbour zone. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully the microphone picks up my voice a bit better. Maybe it's a a nice sort of smoother quality for you guys to actually listen to. And have a lovely day, night, evening, morning, wherever you may be in the world. And I'll catch you on the next devlog. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment if you really like this video. Plenty more devlogs coming out. There's also a catalogue of devlogs that I've got on this channel right now. And like I said before, it'd be great to start getting into the sound by the end of the year. So I'll kind of branch off into something really different and a very different realm of dev work that Neyyah has to offer. And the awesome, awesome journey that it's providing me. So, and thanks guys for supporting this channel, for supporting Neyyah, and I really can't wait to share this entire world with you one day, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be such a momentous occasion, and yeah, I'm glad you're sticking around so far for the journey. Thanks so much, guys. Until next time, bye.